Hello, I'm Claire and welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be about fragrance award winners over the last 20 years. So if you don't know, the Fragrance Foundation Awards in New York are really considered to be the Oscars of the fragrance industry. And those are the awards I'm going to be talking about in this video. So if you haven't seen me before, I'm Claire Smith. I make videos all about fragrance. I talk about perfume history, perfume psychology, perfume science, and I also just do some straight perfume reviews and also fun perfume tags. So if this kind of thing interests you and you haven't already subscribed, then please do consider subscribing, and please also press the like button if you do enjoy this kind of content. So the Fragrance Foundation was basically set up to promote the fragrance industry, and that's why it holds awards ceremonies, I guess, because it's another way of promoting the industry and also for rewarding firms and perfumers who make excellent fragrances. So I was reading about these awards and they've been running since 1973, but really their categories have morphed and changed over the years, and I can really only get data going back to 2007 where I can confidently say that these categories are unchanged. So the categories I'm going to be discussing in this video are the prestige category and also the luxury category for fragrances classed as being marketed towards women. So I did look for definitions of these categories, official definitions, and I couldn't seem to see one. But from what I can work out from the award winners more recently, prestige seems to be general designer fragrances, and then luxury seems to be a very variable definition. From what I can work out, sometimes it's like the higher end ranges of designer houses, and then in other years it seems to be basically the normal designer range of fragrance houses. So I'm really not sure how they actually define these categories, and I'd be really interested to find out if anybody does know. But I'm just going to run through the award winners in both of the categories all the way back from 2007 until now. So as we go through these lists, please think about which of these fragrances you might have owned in the past and which you think really did deserve this title. And also think about fragrances you think may have been overlooked on this list. And we'll also have a discussion at the end as to really why fragrances might have been overlooked on this list. So let's go back to 2007 and see which fragrances were winning. So back in 2007, seems a long time ago now, 19 years ago, but the fragrance that won that year for the prestige category was Viva La Juicy's original fragrance, Viva La Juicy. And I don't really remember much about that fragrance other than it was a white floral, an aquatic white floral fragrance. But I'm really surprised that that one won, considering that later fragrances that were perhaps more popular, like Viva La Juicy Gold Couture, didn't win this award. But yeah, if you had that one, please let me know, because I don't really remember it that well. And the luxury category in 2007 was won by Kenzo Amore. I've always greatly admired the bottles for Kenzo Amore. I think they used to come in different colours. I think there were different colours for different sizes, and now they all come in this kind of cerise pink colour. It's a rice and vanilla fragrance. I'm not sure whether it's been discontinued or whether it's still on the market, but it's something that I never ever got to try, and I really feel like I missed out. I would really love to try that one. So that's Kenzo Amore, winner of the luxury category in 2007. So moving on to 2008 now, the Prestige Award winner in 2008 was Daisy by Marc Jacobs. I actually did have a bottle of Daisy and I finished it. And actually for me, Daisy, it was kind of a like. It was never a love, but I can totally see why this fragrance was something that was very distinctively different at the time when it won the award. This is a violet leaf fragrance. It's definitely a greener toned fragrance. I think this one won perhaps as much for the marketing of it and the packaging of it as the scent itself. So yeah, Daisy was the award winner. Also that year, the luxury award winner was actually Prada Infusion Iris. So there are actually two different versions of this fragrance, and I have the older version here, but I also did own the more modern version, but I ended up decluttering that one. So this older version actually was heavier on the galbanum, and it was definitely a greener fragrance overall. And actually this fragrance eventually spawned an entire Infusions line. It was that successful. So again, I see why this one won the award, because clearly green must have been in vogue that year and powdery must have been in vogue that year, because this fragrance and also Daisy do share some similarities in their scent profile and category. So that's Prada Infusion d'Iris. So going back to 2009, the Prestige Award winner was not one fragrance, it was actually a range of fragrances. It was actually a set of 5 fragrances, and these fragrances were from the Harajuku Lovers collection, and that was a fragrance brand that was owned by Gwen Stefani or marketed by Gwen Stefani. And really these were all about sort of a doll. They were sort of different dolls with different personalities in the form of a perfume bottle. I remember trying all these fragrances, and I remember thinking that I liked the pineapple one best, which I think was G, but I'm not sure. But yeah, if you had any of those fragrances, please let me know which one you had. I think Little Angel was also really popular. Also in 2009, the Luxury Award winner was Chloe Eau de Toilette. I didn't ever own Chloe, but I did own L'Eau de Chloe. And I really enjoyed this one. This one actually smelled a bit like a rose lemonade. But I think Chloe is just a very classic clean girl fragrance, isn't it? It's something that, again, has been kind of maligned because of its success. It's sort of seen as quite a boring fragrance, but I think it's a really well done fragrance, and they're still releasing flankers today. So yeah, Chloe was the 2009 Luxury Award winner. So in 2010, the Prestige Award winner was actually one of my favourite ever fragrances. This is something that I wore as a signature scent in my 20s, something I still own a bottle of, something I still wear occasionally and look back very fondly on. It brings me a lot of nostalgia. So this one is Marc Jacobs Lola. It's a velvety rose fragrance. It's got a lovely kind of peppery opening with some grapefruit, and then it dries down into the most deep, dark feeling rose, almost a velvety rose. I love this one, and yes, this is definitely award winning for me. So that's Lola by Marc Jacobs. In 2010, the Luxury Award went to Bond No. 9's Astor Place. I was surprised when I saw this one had won because, you know, you see a lot of Bond No. 9 fragrances repeatedly mentioned on YouTube, and Astor Place is not one of them. I was surprised. So I've not tried Astor Place, but from what I can gather, it's a floral musk fragrance. It sounds quite airy, quite watery, and also maybe slightly soapy or even shampooy. If you've tried Astor Place, please let me know what you think of it and whether it is something that you would consider to be award-winning. So in 2011, the Prestige Award went to this fragrance, Gucci Guilty, and I had the EDT version of this fragrance, which was the original release of this fragrance. My bottle's looking pretty beaten up now and I've lost the lid. But this fragrance was quite a peppery opening fragrance, and then it had lilac as well, and it was quite powdery. It was definitely a baby powder style fragrance, this one. It was kind of a mild like for me. I'm not really sure how I ended up with a bottle. I think I must have got this in a bundle of fragrances or something. But yeah, not something that I loved, but I think it was very distinctive. And the Luxury Award winner in 2011 was Balenciaga's Paris. I love this fragrance. It's a powdery, cold violet leaf and also slightly violety fragrance as well. It's very aloof smelling to me. It always makes me think of weddings. It's very elegant, and yeah, I can totally see this one scooping up an award. But again, it's got that kind of greenness, the powderiness that seemed to be in vogue at the time. A lot of these awards in the late 2000s and early 2010s went to powdery fragrances. That's Balenciaga Paris. So in 2012, the Prestige Award went to Prada Candy, and I've only tried that fragrance briefly, but I remember thinking I can't imagine a less appropriately named fragrance. It really wasn't very candy-like. It was a very powdery fragrance really overall, and actually I did own a fragrance that it's widely compared to, which is Kenzo Flower Elixir, and I ended up decluttering that one because it gave me a slight plasticky twang. But I think that one was really loved. And I guess it's in the same vein as Prada Candy. So I guess Prada Candy was also loved. Although I feel like the flankers were probably more loved than the original fragrance. The Luxury Award winner that year was actually one from Tom Ford. And you will notice throughout this video that Tom Ford comes to dominate the luxury category at points. You will see Tom Ford winning again and again. And it really started with this fragrance. So this one was Violet Blonde. I've never had the pleasure of smelling Violet Blonde, but it's something that's always attracted me. And actually from its description, it sounds a lot like Balenciaga Paris. So it's meant to be a cold violet fragrance, violet leaf fragrance, and also to have a suede aspect to it. So I'm guessing it's quite powdery again. I guess this was on trend, and that's perhaps why these types of fragrances were winning again and again. So in 2013, the Prestige Award was won again by Marc Jacobs. So that's 3 awards in 6 years. I think Marc Jacobs are probably doing quite well here. So they won this time with Dot, which is a fragrance I don't remember much about. I think it still is on the market. I do still see it around. But I think it's a dragon fruit fragrance. I just remember it being a floral fruity. I don't really remember any details about it. So yeah, Dot. And then the luxury award winner that year was Flora Botanica by Balenciaga. So you can see how loved Balenciaga fragrances were by the fragrance industry itself. They clearly thought that their fragrances were really well designed and really well executed. I don't think it was really appreciated when it was first on the market. I think it was only when it was about to disappear that people thought, I really do like that, and actually I would like another bottle of that. And I think a lot of people ended up trying it as well for the first time, falling in love, and then realising they can't have another bottle of this. But this one is just a very light rose water kind of fragrance, but with an intense greenness and a woodiness to it as well. It's very refreshing. I think that's what is so distinctive about it. It really does stand out, this one, as something completely different. So that's Flora Botanica by Balenciaga. So in 2014, the Prestige Award winner was Estee Lauder's Modern Muse. I think it was underrated at the time, but again, it was a powdery fragrance, and it was kind of along the same lines of like Narciso Rodriguez, that kind of powdery musk with white florals. So that's Modern Muse by Estee Lauder. So the luxury award winner that year was actually a fragrance that I wouldn't really expect to have won an award. I haven't tried this one, but it's just something I never hear spoken about, whereas other fragrances in this same category I hear it talked about a lot still. So this one was Giorgio Armani's Privé Lines Rose d'Arabie, and this was a rose oud fragrance. So I think, at the time, this combination was quite a novel thing, at least for Western noses. And we had other fragrances around this time being released, such as Velvet Rose and Oud by Jo Malone, Intense Cafe by Montal, and also we had fragrances like Lancome's Oud Bouquet just around the corner. So I think this definitely was a rising trend at that moment in time in perfumery, and that's perhaps why this one won, because it was something new in a way, at least to Westerners. So yeah, that's Giorgio Armani's Privé line, and it's Rose d'Arabie. So the 2015 Prestige Award winner was Giorgio Armani's C. I love this fragrance, and I can totally see why this one perhaps won. I think it's a very distinctive combination. The thing that makes this fragrance stand out, especially with the original formulation, is the cassis. The cassis is so distinctive, it really brings the whole thing alive. It's got a really nice velvety feel to the rose in this fragrance. It's very almost fermented feeling, and the vanilla here is gorgeous too. I just think this one really stands out. I think the modern formulation has a little bit more of the freesia going on. It's a little bit more soapy feeling almost, and the cassis has kind of been dialed back, and I think that's a shame. But they still are producing flanker to this fragrance, and clearly they had later success with things like C Fiori. I think this line has done well for them, and I can totally see why this one won an award. So that's Giorgio Armani's C. So the 2015 Luxury Award winner was a Tom Ford fragrance, and from now on you can see Tom Ford's dominance of this category for quite some period of time. And this is really the more wearable sister of Black Orchid. It's Velvet Orchid. This one is far easier for me to wear, at least. I do love Black Orchid. I think Black Orchid is a very distinctive, very intoxicating, beautiful, stunning fragrance, and I do love to wear it. But I struggle to find occasions to wear it. I feel like I could wear Velvet Orchid to work and I wouldn't feel like I was standing out. Whereas Black Orchid just makes me a bit self-conscious sometimes. I have to be feeling very confident to wear Black Orchid. So Velvet Orchid is a stunner. It's got the booze, it's got the honey, it's got the florals. And again, I do think this was a worthy winner. It's a good price point, or at least it used to be a fantastic price point for a fragrance of this quality. But yeah, that's Tom Ford's Velvet Orchid. So in 2016, it was Marc Jacobs' year again, and they again won the Prestige Award, this time with, I think, the fragrance that is really regarded as their best ever release, and this one is Decadence. So Decadence to me is a green vanilla fragrance. I don't really care what the notes say. To me, vanilla is the main thing that I smell here, but it has added touches of interest. It has vetiver, it has also some saffron, which I don't find rubbery or harsh. and it also has rose. It's a very distinctively different kind of fragrance, and it really did take fragrance in a different direction to all the other fragrances on the market at the time marketed towards women. This really did something dramatically different, and I can totally see why this one was an award winner. So that was the Prestige Award winner, Marc Jacobs Decadence. And the Luxury Award winner again in 2016 was another Tom Ford, and this time it was Tom Ford's Noir Parfum. Again, I totally agree with this one having won the award in 2016. I love this fragrance. It's a coffee and vanilla fragrance in the dry down. Has a little bit of a weird oak, as some Tom Fords do. It's kind of got a very harsh, bitter citrus in the opening, but the dry down is dreamy. So yeah, Tom Ford Noir Parfum. So in 2017, the Prestige Award winner was Mon Paris by YSL. This one kind of surprised me, but I guess strawberry at the time was quite an unusual note in fragrance, although we had already had Dior's Miss Dior Cherie released even a decade earlier. And I guess maybe even there are other parallels with this fragrance, and maybe this was YSL's answer to Miss Dior Cherie, and just how much people missed that fragrance. Maybe they were trying to capitalise on that slightly. Mon Paris is still on the market and is still loved. It's still selling. It wouldn't be there if it wasn't still selling. And they are still bringing out the occasional flanker to it. But yeah, Mon Paris was the Prestige Award winner in 2017. So the Luxury Award winner that year, again, was another Tom Ford, and this time it was Soleil Blanc. And I feel like that fragrance, again, was a bit of a victim of its own success. I still feel it is a pretty popular fragrance, but I think there's a really big split. I think people's expectation versus reality with that fragrance is often not quite paired. But I do think there's a hardcore lot of people who do absolutely love that fragrance. And I think it's just been transferred to the other line, isn't it, of Tom Ford, and they've changed the bottle. So yeah, I think that's interesting. So that's Soleil Blanc by Tom Ford. So in 2018, the Prestige Award was won by Gucci. They won with their new fragrance line, Bloom. And I haven't ever owned Bloom, but I do currently own a flanker fragrance, Nitari di Fiori. And I can see why Bloom won. To me, it's a very, very striking, slightly green, white floral. It's something that really isn't afraid to be a little bit indolic. It definitely does have touches of that kind of style of white floral, and that's quite daring on the designer market. That's something very unusual to smell these days. People really struggle a lot with indolic fragrances, and I think this one really does still stand out as something strikingly different on the designer fragrance market. The Gucci Bloom line was originally designed all around the Rangoon creeper note, which is technically a type of honeysuckle, I think. But yeah, just a really striking white floral fragrance. That's Gucci Bloom. So the Luxury Award winner that year was actually another Tom Ford fragrance, and this time it was Fabulous. So this fragrance is really famous for being something that Estee Lauder didn't want on perfume shelves, and I think Tom Ford had to fight pretty hard to get it called what he actually got it called in the end. And I think Tom Ford's naming of fragrances is really designed to shock people, and I guess this one was a real extreme, but really the story around this was that he tried it as a sample and he said, "That's fabulous," and that's where the name came from. But yeah, I was surprised this one won, because it's not something that I would think would be mainly women buying. But yeah, I've only tried it once, and I remember it being a kind of slightly spiced, herbal, but also almondy fragrance. It really wasn't what I was expecting at all, this fragrance. So yeah, that's Fabulous by Tom Ford. So in 2019, the Prestige Award winner really surprises me. I think this is really the point at which the categories really started to blur into one, and I really can't tell what's going to be named as a prestige fragrance and what's going to be named as a luxury fragrance. So the Prestige category award winner in 2019 was a Jo Malone fragrance, and it was Honeysuckle and Divana. And that's not a fragrance I see talked about a lot. I wouldn't have said that that was one of the best sellers of the brand. I wouldn't say that's one of their standout releases. So I'm surprised that this one was the award winner out of the bunch. But yeah, I guess Divana is a very distinctive smell, isn't it? It's something that has a lot of texture to it. It can smell a bit suede, it can smell a bit herbal, it can smell almost slightly peachy almost as well. And I think that's maybe something that's very distinctive and maybe made that one stand out to judges perhaps. So that's Jo Malone's Honeysuckle and Divana. So the Luxury Fragrance Award again went to another Tom Ford. I mean, how many wins can Tom Ford have? I think at one point in the Fragrance Awards ceremonies, he was actually awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award as well, which is no surprise really, given the number of times he's won with his fragrances. So Lost Cherry was the award winner in 2019, and I'm not surprised because it was a phenomenon, wasn't it? It was everywhere. And love it or hate it, Lost Cherry really inspired a whole genre of fragrances based around a cherry note. It really took it towards a cherry amaretto or even a cherry bakewell kind of smell. It was something that was almondy, it was sort of slightly boozy almost, but still it really did make me think of different types of cherry, and I really wondered how they'd done that. It smelled almost red at points, it smelled black at points, it smelled, almost like a maraschino cherry at points. Just such a beautiful, stunning fragrance, much copied now. And I'm sure it made Tom Ford and Estee Lauder an awful lot of money. So that's Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. So 2020, we weren't really doing much sniffing, were we? We weren't really in shops for most of the year. But the Prestige Award winner went that year to the world's flattest bottle. Yep, it was Lancome's Idole. And this was really a pear and rose fragrance. It really took rose into the sweeter echelons. I think that was really reflecting what was happening in perfumery at the time. Fragrances just were getting very sweet, very gourmand feeling, even when they weren't gourmand kind of fragrances. And I think Idole did pretty well, but I think the thing that annoyed people was the longevity of that fragrance a little bit. So yeah, that was the Prestige Award winner. So the Luxury Award winner that year was again one from YSL, and they won with Libre. So Libre is a fragrance that really took female marketed fragrances in the direction of more masculine feeling fougères, but still sort of made it very palatable to mass market designer audience really. And I think, it was kind of building on fragrances like Montgalant. I think Libre is a fragrance line that you either love or you hate. I think it's probably one of the most successful lines of the last 5 years. I'm sure they've done very well with Libre. And I do see why they won the award, because it was something that was very strikingly different again at the time. So yeah, Libre, the 2020 Luxury Fragrance Award winner. So in 2021, the Prestige Award winner was Giorgio Armani's My Way. And in some ways that surprised me, but then in others it didn't, because I feel like My Way was probably the forerunner of the classic citrus, white floral, musk, vanilla kind of combination that seems to be everywhere in fragrance right now. And I do remember the excitement over My Way. I remember, I had my channel by the time My Way was released. And I remember going into a perfume shop specifically to go and try My Way and feeling like it smelled a little bit like Earl Grey tea in the opening, which I guess is the bergamot. I haven't really tried it much since, actually. It wasn't a line that really grabbed me, but I think it was incredibly popular. And I do kind of see, looking back, why it did win that year. So that's My Way, the Prestige Award winner for 2021. So the Luxury Award for that year went to a Gucci fragrance, and it was from the Alchemist's Garden collection. This one was called A Chant for the Nymph. And this fragrance, I remember going to try it in store, and it really wasn't exactly how I imagined it to smell. It's a white floral and yellow floral fragrance. There's lots of ylang-ylang in there, but there's also a lot of powdery musks, and it also has a slightly unnatural feel to me. It's very otherworldly feeling in a way, very distinctive, but perhaps not one for me. But I think this one probably just did stand out to judges because it was quite different. So yeah, that was A Chant for the Nymph by Gucci. So we're pretty bang up to date now. So we're back into 2022, and actually the Prestige Award winner again was a Gucci fragrance. So this was Gorgeous Gardenia. So Gucci relaunched a flanker fragrance of Flora that they discontinued, but actually reformulated it. It didn't smell like it used to smell in the Flora range. And they produced a completely different bottle. They had a really song and dancey advertising campaign with it. And I think it did really well for them. But to me, it's one of the most poorly named fragrances on the current market, because you expect something overtly floral and you don't necessarily get that. You get something actually quite fruity. So that's Gucci Gorgeous Gardenia. So the 2022 Luxury Award winner was again a Tom Ford fragrance. I mean, you can never have enough Tom Fords in an awards list, can you? You just can't. So this one is Soleil Brillant, and this one is a lovely burnished honey and resins fragrance with a slight leatheriness. It's quite unusual. It's not a fragrance that I know too well, but I do really like that kind of range from Tom Ford. I really like Soleil de Feu as well. I think the Soleil range is really well done. So yeah, Soleil Brillant. So in 2023, the Prestige Award winner was Prada Paradox, and I guess in many ways this was following on from Giorgio Armani's My Way. It was kind of an orangey take on My Way. It's got neroli, it's got orange blossom, it's got quite a dense musk to it as well. But yeah, totally along the same lines as something like My Way. And I think this one again had a massive advertising campaign. It had Emma Watson advertising for it, and I think it's still doing really well. Very distinctive bottle as well from Prada, and I think that's really all contributed to its award win as a prestige fragrance. And the Luxury Award winner, we have a Chanel fragrance. So this time it's Gabrielle, and it's the Perfume version of Gabrielle. So Gabrielle is just an overtly floral fragrance. It's very golden smelling almost. So it's tuberose, jasmine, ylang ylang, and also orange blossom. And again, I think that really just channels what's going on at the time. Not that Chanel tends to go with trends, but I think they did kind of feed into a slightly more modern trend with Gabrielle Parfum. So yeah, that was the award winner in the luxury category for 2023. So 2024, can you guess the Prestige Award winner? I think there was really only one fragrance that could have won in 2024. Maybe two. I feel like Devotion could have won from Dolce & Gabbana, but actually it wasn't Devotion, it was Burberry Goddess. So Burberry Goddess, I think, was a bit of a phenomenon. It was definitely a TikTok success, and it really, again, is something that takes lavender in a different direction, and it really just makes it into a very fluffy, vanillic fragrance. It's a really loved and well done mass market fragrance. In 2024, the Luxury Award winner was weirdly Valentino Donna Born in Roma Intense. So this is where I really don't get the difference between prestige and luxury fragrances with these categories. To me, it seems random, but they chose Donna Born in Roma Intense. I haven't tried the Intense, but it seems to be a more amped up vanillic version. So it's got benzoin in there, and it's also just got a very strong amberiness from people's descriptions. So yeah, if you love the Donna Born in Roma line, let me know. Is the Intense the best version? So yeah, Donna Born in Roma Intense. So we're bang up to date now in 2025, and actually the Prestige Award winner for this year really stands out to me because it's not something from a major perfume manufacturing company. It's not something from Estee Lauder or something from L'Oreal or even something from Chanel. It's something that is from an independent brand, something not owned by a conglomerate. It's a fragrance actually from Kayali, and it's Vanilla Candy Rock Sugar 42. So this is the fragrance with a very distinctive bubblegum note, and with that really sort of sweetness to it. You know, the pear really stands out here in the vanilla, along with the marshmallow. And actually this fragrance is widely compared to Jean-Paul Gaultier's La Belle, which itself was really a major player in, I think it was around 2020 that one was released, 2019 maybe. I'm surprised we haven't seen that one in the list actually, because that was such a major hit. But this fragrance clearly did very well for Kayali, and it won them their first fragrance award, which I think is amazing. So yeah, Vanilla Candy Rock Sugar 42. And the Luxury Fragrance Award this year went to actually a Kilian fragrance, so something owned by Estee Lauder, and this was to Sun-Kissed Goddess. So I've not tried this fragrance, but from what I've been told, this fragrance is actually a re-release of an older fragrance. So I'm guessing they've reformulated it slightly because they've changed the name of the fragrance. So the original fragrance was called Love the Way You Feel, and this fragrance is described as a tropical floral with coconut. I haven't tried this one, so I can't tell you what I think of it, but I think I did try Love the Way You Feel, and I really did like that one. But yeah, it's a shame, isn't it, with some brands like Kilian have really discontinued some of their best fragrances, and then they do these kind of relaunches, and I'm always scared to try the new version in case it's just not quite as good. So yeah, that was the award winner in the luxury category for 2025. So I guess the thing that stands out to me with this list of award winners is that the same fragrance conglomerates win again and again and again. And those are nearly always owned by L'Oreal, Estee Lauder or Coty. And I think that perhaps reflects the way the vote numbers are given in these award categories. So actually, if you're a bigger company in the US, if you sell more volume of fragrance, you get allocated more votes to use in these awards. And that can mean that you can really massively influence the vote. And I think that's really why perhaps larger companies are winning over and over again. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little look back over fragrance history and nostalgia, and really just think about your own collections and how many of these you might have owned over the years and which ones you appreciate and you think will be still around and loved in 10 years time. I'd really love to know that. So if you have enjoyed the video, then please do press the like button and please also consider subscribing if you haven't done already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.